Okay, hello and welcome to a very special episode that we're doing, a very special conversation around what I think is the most important day of the year. And we want to convert this day into a week, and that's something that I told her a year ago. And a year ago, she picked up the cause and she said, let's do it. And I'm so thrilled and so delighted. She doesn't need any introduction. She's an actor, a champion of all causes that are good, and somebody who truly believes in Mother Earth, in preserving Mother Earth, and in making sure that we take care of our planet. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to do this with you, Sonakshi.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. Always a pleasure talking to you. And this year, I think last year we decided let's make it a week. I think this year let's make it a month, and then make it the whole year, and make this our devious plan to make every day World Environment Day.
Don't spell it out. So don't spell it out as clearly as you did. Then it becomes
Just,
a problem. Then
just putting it out there in the universe.
but quite honestly, the campaign took off because of you. Let me firstly just thank you on behalf of all the young people, because she exactly.
No, I want to thank you, and that is one of my proudest achievements, I have to tell you.
Trust me, like we young people keep wanting to bring about change, right? Like they have this utopian mindset saying, we'll think about something and we'll bring about change. But at the end of the day, when people like you lend support to this, and I remember like we had a long list of people, and I said, who's that one person that we should get for this? Just one person that we want who we to get for this. And I'm so glad that we did it. But Sonakshi will be the happiest in knowing that, see, over the last 1 year, about 3,500 schools across the world have agreed to mark the occasion as a week and not just a day.
That's amazing.
But there are so many others that we're trying to convince, right? We're asking schools, we're asking the CBSE, ICSE boards to say that let's do this as a whole thing. To every person who's watching this, every young person, every person in the academic fraternity who's watching this, why is it so important to celebrate a week as against a day?
I think because firstly, it creates a lot more awareness, gets people more involved, and and just interested in a way. So I think that is most important. Firstly, to create awareness and understand what we as human beings have done to this planet, and what we continue to keep doing, and what we can do, and what we should do. So definitely a week more helpful than just a day. And I'm really happy that you guys were able to do this. It's a huge achievement. We've got 3,500 schools as of now. I'm sure the others will follow suit, because honestly, the youth, the kids of today are very, very smart, and they know what's up. So they themselves are going to raise their voices and get more involved and work towards making this world a better place to live in. And I'm pretty sure of that. So I'm not really worried.
You're not really worried. And as long as we have people like you making the right noises, I don't think we need to be worried about it all. Because all the young people look up to people like you. But it's one side is the young people, right? We've got like 356 million young people below 24, 600 million below 35.
Yeah.
It's these young people on one side, and the second side is also government, is policymakers. And policymakers also, some who passed out from I.I.M.U.N are today in different places. I keep badgering them, saying environment should be your single cause. Everyone should come together, on whichever party, whatever ideology is. But a lot of policymakers, for some funny reason, also watch I.I.M.U.N a lot, whatever we do.
Yeah.
What is your message to all the policymakers who would be watching this conversation today?
I beg to differ with you on that. You're saying let's make environment their one single cause. I think education should be their one single cause, because that is the root of, or I think that would be the solution to every problem that we have, including the environment. You educate more people about the environment, educate more people in general, they start to understand better, they start to think better for themselves. And I believe that by doing that, you will be encouraging and getting a lot more people to start thinking about the environment, including the policymakers. A lot of them would already be have a more understanding of the subject, of what is happening, of what shouldn't be happening, what should be happening. And I think that would be really helpful. So I think that should be their one main point of action. And of course, everything else will fall into place. But environment is definitely one of the biggest challenges that we're facing today. And I was just seeing something, and it's so sad to think that yesterday, where our survival depended on nature, today it's nature's survival that is depending on us, and it's such a sad situation to be in. So yeah, just everyone out there on a personal level, not only on the government levels. I think on a personal level, everybody needs to get involved, start educating themselves, start learning a bit more about it, start reading up about it. General things, you don't have to sit and like study it. I'm also a layperson. I'm not some great activist or anything per se, but I do take an interest. I do get involved because I know it's for the betterment of our future. So I think everybody, if you could just kind of shift your perspective on this one thing, the world will definitely be a much better place to live in.
Very well said. And there's the two of us. I'm going to ask the silly questions, and you're going to make the grand statements. That's guys. That's how
Your questions are far from silly. Trust me, they are very, very relevant questions, and very, very good questions. You always do this. You always underplay it, and then you always come out with like all the questions that need to be asked. So don't worry.
No, but quite honestly, I must ask you this. Education, of course, is the passport of tomorrow. And therefore, the single point policy that policymakers should focus on would be education for sure. But what I also meant actually was that should 1 week be celebrated? Like we have a World Environment Day. At the end of the day, demarking a day as against a week yet is something which is the prerogative of different world governments, or the United Nations as a whole. Do you think, and do you encourage policymakers to view it as a week as against a day?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we all share the same problem. This is our planet. This is all our home. So what applies in India doesn't mean it doesn't apply in Belgium or America or Africa or Australia. It applies to each and every one of us that live on this planet. So definitely, as opposed to a day, a week is definitely better. And I think it's coming back to me from last year. We had this conversation where, because we spoke of education right now, I believe I said that you should introduce climate conversation as a subject in every school. Teach the kids right from the beginning. Why hasn't that happened yet? We're learning history, geography, and maths as a subject. And to be honest, maths really hasn't helped me at all today. Not saying it hasn't helped other people, but I'm pretty sure learning how to conserve the environment would help me and the future generations to come. Up until you can imagine. So I think that should definitely be a subject.
So it should definitely be a subject. And I'm so glad that you remember the conversation as clearly as you do. And this is why I said that, from the list of the people that we thought we should select one from, I'm so glad that we reached out to you and you agreed, because it's so important to be able to, like you said, to catch them young and to try to sensitize them to the importance of why is it necessary in order to preserve Mother Earth per se. And and when you put it articulately like this, it makes my life much easier, because then I can just don't you like Sonakshi? This is what so you need to go and follow and do this. And I also saw your birthday post where you put something up, and that was so nice. I'm sorry, just deviating a little, but I saw that you said if somebody wants to gift me anything, then please go and plant a tree, and that's the best gift that you could give me. And that speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
The importance on, again, why do you place so much of importance on, say, planting trees? Something which is very little, but to all the 13, 14, 15-year-olds who are watching this, why is it so important to do this?
I feel like that's the need of the hour, right? I mean, today as human beings, we've wiped out half the tree population of the planet. So it's up to us to kind of restore it, which is why I feel it's so important. And being someone who feels so strongly about the environment, I think that genuinely was the best gift one of them gifted me. A grove of 11 trees somewhere in Madhya Pradesh. And it just felt so good. To have something so meaningful to be done for you as well as the planet, because it's a cause that you feel so strongly about. Automatically it becomes something so meaningful to you, which is why I also want to encourage other people
All the millions of students who participate every year at I.I.M.U.N, we're going to tell them saying, how many of you like Sonakshi Sinha and her movies and whatever she does? If you like it, this is the, on her birthday, this is what she wants you to do. She wants you to plant a tree.
Absolutely. Posted that on my Instagram today. That would be the best gift possible. Imagine if like I have 19 million followers on Instagram right now. Imagine if each one of them planted one tree, we'd have 19 million more trees. And that is a huge thing. So it's just one small step, you need to take in the right direction. And it just really goes a long way.
No, absolutely. One small step makes all the difference, and
Yeah.
also making the right steps make the difference, right? You need to take the right steps, and to that end, this entire year, people have not been able to take a step outside their house, right? You're yet
Yeah.
locked in. What has the last 1 year, when we started the pandemic when it first hit us in March, at that juncture, people thought that, by May, June it'll be over. June, we thought December will be over, and it's not gotten over. What's the one biggest takeaway from the last year and a half when it comes to COVID-19 for you personally?
I think the importance of and friends, of course, and that we don't really need too much to go on living our lives. It's really taught us a lot. Like, you look left and right, you'll always find someone who's not as well off as you, not doing as good as you, but they're still kind of going on with life, and that really gives you a reality check, and makes you feel so grateful. I think the last couple of years have really put things into perspective and taught each and every one of us a lot of things. But yeah, the main takeaway would be, of course, the importance of the family and friends in your life. Yeah.
And to be grateful for whatever you have. That's one of the biggest.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying, Yeah.
No, that's what I took away from the last year and a half. Not that
Yeah.
you asked, but that's what I did. I need to come across as smart. People are like,
No,
is
but good to
the
know. Good to
president of the
know.
organization?
Yeah, I'm sure they believe you're smart just by virtue of that position. So don't worry.
No, but tell me one thing, for all of us at least. I want to ask you how you've tackled it, because for all the people who are working as I.I.M.U.N, essentially they're all part of Gen Z. And all of these students who are in Gen Z, who are student interns at the organization, all of them have had their examinations scheduled. Then they have their examinations postponed. Then sometimes they have the examinations cancelled. There's so much of mental duress, plus the fact that you're locked in at home, plus you've got uh, parents telling you don't watch too much on Netflix. And these are the people who've come out when it came to the second wave. Many of them have actually gone ahead and volunteered in crematoriums. They've matched resources and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it becomes taxing because you're sitting at home and there's very little to do apart from that. So if there is a wave, then you're contributing to the nation. If there is no wave, you don't know what is happening with your life. So a lot of young people these days are facing issues when it comes to mental health, and even just otherwise not being at their best. How do you keep sane? Because I'm sure you've gone from a very hectic schedule to a very different schedule now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important to, like you said, keep your mental health and mental well-being intact. So I always believe at looking at the positive side of things. um, and that kind of really helped me. Like, for me, I took it on as, oh, I've been working nonstop for the last 10 years. um, so this is like a break for me, whether I want it or not, to kind of recharge and restore myself and rejuvenate myself. So I looked at it in that way. Of course, there were times which were challenging, where you're so unsure about what's going to happen, where life is going to take you, what you're going to do next. But honestly, you just have to kind of maneuver around those thoughts and bring yourself back to a place where you feel happy about where you are and what you're doing. So I found, like, kind of, I picked up painting again, which is something that I used to get such less time to do in my hectic schedule. And that really, really brings me happiness and joy. So find something that keeps you sane, that keeps you happy, brings you some sort of joy. It could be anything. It could be sketching, painting, music, dancing, volunteering. If you love helping other people and that brings you joy, please do that. Just something that kind of keeps you in a positive mind space, I think, is something that everyone should practice. It's not easy. I must say that as well. It's not easy at all. But once you reach that space, I think everyone will kind of find a way. And for kids, honestly, like even in college and school, I think it must be so difficult, because I can't imagine what I would feel if I wasn't able to go out to play, go down in the morning, go to school. I used to thrive on all that stuff. But on the bright side, if someone told me my exams were cancelled, I'd be very happy. So, yeah, just look at the bright
Oh,
side of things, I guess.
oh, I was like the Hermione Granger of the class, so I'd be very disappointed. But
Really?
no, no,
God. No,
but
I wasn't.
but
I
I'd
was
be
a good student, but like I wasn't like Hermione Granger for sure.
I was attempting to be Hermione Granger, and then there would be somebody who'd always come first. But then again, I think I just like you would be very happy with the math examination cancelled. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but Sonakshi, like you mentioned, you said that uh, you you, pers- you personally said that you found a bunch of things to do, and that's kept you busy. But there is no end goal in sight. We don't know when the pandemic is going to end, and it's just getting extended. So to be really honest, is it difficult for people like you also, in order to get up every day and say, let's keep at it? Because, like you said, that in college, and when they are in college and they are in school, they're supposed to be living and doing a whole different set of things. And now suddenly they're here on Zoom classes. And it's a very different feeling. It's a very different thing altogether. Is it difficult for you as well when it comes to keep going, to keep going per se?
Of course, definitely. I'm also human, and sometimes it reaches a point where you're like, what's the point, of kind of following a routine, or waking up at a certain time? Oh, I have to exercise at this time. Everything's just so like haywire. You're just thrown off from your entire routine. So sometimes you're just like, why am I even trying? But I feel like for me, what works is, if I don't feel like doing something, I won't do it for at least a couple of days, or maybe a week, for that matter, and then bounce back. Because as much as getting off your routine will bring you that temporary happiness, getting back on it will also kind of shake things up a bit, and put you back on track. So if you're feeling a certain way, listen to your feelings, understand them, I guess, and address them for sure. But then get right back to it. I think that's the way to. That's life. That's going to happen irrespective of there being a pandemic or not. That could happen to you at any point in time in your life. So I think just the way that you deal with it is more important.
So when things get tough, the tough get going. So that's what
Absolutely, yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
and you should take those kind of adages seriously. Plus, when Sonakshi is saying it, you should take it very seriously. Plus, plus, I put it in one line, so it makes it very easy. So all the ones who don't like to learn and memorize a lot,
Yeah.
let me take you to another thing. It's very important that young people on their own are able to bring about change, right? So they look at policymakers, they look at people like you, they look at people from different walks of life, and hope that these are the people that are going to lead us. But this is what I keep telling young people, saying that you by yourself can bring about a lot of change. And there are so very many of us that if we just did basic things right, then we could bring about a dramatic change. What do you think, if there were three things that you would ask young people to do in order to reduce their carbon footprint, in order to have a cleaner, greener world, what would they be?
There are so many things to choose from, honestly, and I feel like that's the beauty of it. Uh, they're just such small changes in your life that you can make that go such a long way in doing that, in reducing the carbon footprint. For example, conserving power, switching off the lights when you leave your house, leave your room, conserving water, kind of switching to just shut the tap while you're washing your hands or brushing your teeth, and you don't need to use the water at that point in time. Changing to a bamboo toothbrush. How many toothbrushes do we go through in our lives? Innumerable, like you can't even count them. Just imagine making this one change where you'll be not adding to the plastic pollution that there already is. Making a slight change in your diet. Maybe if you're a non-vegetarian, try eating a plant-based diet for a couple of days in the week. Even that goes such a long way. So there's so many things that you can do, switching to sustainable fashion, reusing, recycling, a lot of things. There's so many things that you can choose from, and honestly, it's tough to do everything. I'm not gonna lie, but even if you do a few things, that really, really, really goes a long way.
It goes a very long way. And I'm sure in school, when you were writing the answers, and in college, when you were writing answers, and it was answer this in 3 points, you could write 300 lines. And there was never a problem when it came to
I
objective answers.
I could, yeah. No, but this particular question does have
So it
way
does.
more than 3 answers. So
No,
like, I
I'm,
had no choice.
I'm just saying that if your school teacher would have been very happy that instead of writing 3, you've written 30. But
And
it's
sometimes they cut marks also for like adding extra points.
then in my
But
school,
here, nobody is cutting my points. Here,
it,
I'm getting great marks.
you're getting plus marks for giving
Yeah.
more options to do, because I think it's so important, like you rightly said, that even if you start with something little, like you even said, about sustainable fashion, and a lot of young girls and boys who look up to you, and the choices you make will define the choices they make, and which is why I'm so glad that you mentioned points such as those. All in all, even if you do 3 of them, I think you're going to reduce your carbon footprint. So
By a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
let me take you to the last part of something that I picked up from someone I greatly revere and really like, and his talk show. I don't do it as well because he's the one who's invented it, and he's the one who should be doing it. But with all due permission, Karan, if you're watching this, I'm going to copy the last. What is this is like his rapid fire round, which he does.
Okay.
But what is the first word that comes to your mind when I say the following words? All right. So when I say favorite animal, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Oh, there's a tie between a horse and an elephant. Yeah.
Okay. Super. When I say nature, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Magnificent.
Okay. India.
The song comes to mind. Which is that? Ye mera India. I love my India. The song comes to my mind. Yeah.
And when I say young people,
the future.
And when I say the very important thing, why we are here, the reason why we're here, when I say 1 week for one world, and I want you to think carefully about it, because if you answer it correctly, you get 1 billion Zimbabwean dollars.
I think you promised me this the last time also. I'm still waiting. You sent last year's prize first.
Of course I did. I don't know why it didn't reach you. Probably went to Minima. But
yeah,
no,
probably.
But 1 week for one world. What's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Need of the hour.
No, and what is the need of the hour, not just according to me, but according to Shotgun Jr., is something that you need to pay attention to, because the name in itself speaks volumes. It's Shotgun, and that speaks volumes in itself. So you better listen to her when she says this is the need of the hour. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to be able to do this conversation with you. Thank you for taking out time.
Thank you, Rishabh. No, thank you. Thank you for always kind of giving me a platform to be able to say the things that I want to say and reach out to so many, students and young people who are our future, like I said. And it's really amazing to be able to reach out to so many of them.
No, in fact, what we're going to do is the 3,500 schools that are practicing this for the full week, we're sending this conversation to them. And
great.
Also, I'm sending it to the ones who have not yet taken it up. So to the ones who are not taking it up, saying that, look, now she's saying it, so now you must
you must do it. Yeah.
It's not the first year, but it's the second year in running that this is a cause that needs to be adopted. And I sincerely hope one day when we meet at that juncture, the UN has declared, saying it's now 1 week for the world. It's called OWOW, and Sonakshi Sinha championed the cause in 2020, and we've made it happen.
Awesome. That's like an amazing goal to have, and I hope that we reach it very, very soon. Obviously, with the help of all the other schools that are yet to kind of get involved in this conversation. So yeah, I hope it happens very, very soon. And next year when we have this conversation again, you have better news for me. Well, it's definitely a step up from last year, so it's only looking positive, and I'm sure that by next year we'll have made much more of a difference.
And,
So yeah, looking
and
forward to that.
by next year, hopefully, we'll be able to do it in person live with
Yeah,
thousands of students actually watching
yeah,
the conversation live, as again sending it to them via email and social media per se. But
that'll
Sonakshi,
be amazing. Yeah, great.
but Sonakshi, thanks a ton. I know even in the lockdown you keep busy, and therefore really appreciate and heart full of gratitude for being able to do this. For spending time and doing this with all of us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Rishabh. Bye.